Somalia is a third world, maybe a fourth world nation. One of the worst, one of the most dangerous. They shoot each other all over the place. They come here and they steal $19 billion. Ilhan Omar, I hope this is part of it, but she married her brother, supposedly. I mean, she's here illegally and she's a congresswoman. She's one of the ringleaders here. She's bad news, really bad news. She's so bad for our country.
Good evening, beautiful people, and happy Wednesday. So you have President Trump calling out Ilhan Omar, the Somalian community, and the millions of dollars stolen from taxpayers, and at the exact same time, you have Congresswoman Ilhan Omar going on a full-blown online rant, throwing out big accusations, and if you did not know, a bill in Florida, which I thought was common sense, did not pass. So let's talk about it all. Welcome to Nelly Miranda.
But that's only for one little aspect of the fraud. It's $19 billion, and California, as they say, is 10 times worse, and other states are 10. And this is not a Republican-Democrat thing. This is wherever it's taking place. It seems that it's usually in blue states. If it's in a red state, we're going there too. But it seems that it's heavily, heavily, heavily Democrat. And what they've done is so sad. When you look at the Minnesota scam, a lot of it has to do with Somalia. Nobody's calling out anybody, but a lot of it has to do, but it's Somalia and plenty of others. And I believe the governor is complicit. I believe Ilhan Omar is complicit. I believe that your attorney general is complicit. And if they are, you're going to hopefully find out about it, and you're going to have to do what you have to do. If we found half of the fraud that's taking place in this country, and I think you have a chance of doing that, we would have much more than a balanced budget. That's the kind of numbers you're talking about. The theft is incredible.
As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, so I totally agree with Trump on this. If the fraud around the country could be caught before it gets out of control, we'd be better able to balance the budget. But before we continue, I want to say something to those of you looking to balance your own budget. If you are on Medicare or helping a parent navigate it, a lot of people don't realize this, but millions of seniors are actually on the wrong Medicare plan and don't even know it. Plans change every year, and many people never go back and review their options. That is why I partnered with Chapter, because Chapter connects you with a licensed Medicare advisor who can walk through the plans available in your area and help you understand your options. The call is completely free. It usually takes under 20 minutes, and you are speaking to a real person, and there is no pressure at all to sign up for anything. What I appreciate is that their advisors advocate for you and not the insurance companies. They compare every plan available nationwide so nothing gets missed. And historically, people who review their plan with Chapter save about $1,100 per year on average, which can add up to tens of thousands of dollars over time. And if you'd like complete Medicare guidance, you can dial 646-817-8160. That is 646-817-8160 to speak to a trusted advisor. Or you can go online at askchapter.org/Nelly. Now let's get back to the story, because Ilhan Omar is very good at distractions. If she is asked about fraud, she'll pivot to, but Trump said this, the Republican Party did this. Well, she recently responded to Trump via X and accused President Trump of being, well, let's just read her post together, shall we? She said, the most disturbing part of his unhinged comments is how comfortable he is in telling the world how stupid he and his followers are. But I guess it's expected from a man who regularly and publicly fantasized about sleeping with his own daughter and is clearly implicated in the worst pedophile cover-up case. Well, that is so gross and so uncalled for. This wasn't policy criticism nor a debate, but rather a nuclear-level accusation. Throwing those types of claims around clearly shows that she is no longer trying to persuade anyone of anything, but simply trying to destroy. So is it about truth or about controlling the narrative? Because to me, it looks like a desperate attempt to move the focus away from her alleged participation in the Minnesota fraud, as Trump is signing the executive order targeting the fraud.
A big thing that we're doing, it's about fraud, having to do with all the fraud that's taking place in our country. And we have two people that are extremely brilliant and just very talented, and they're going to be put in charge. But I'd like to ask Will, if you would, to give a little description of what we're signing, the executive order, and then I'll ask JD to speak.
Yes, sir. As you stated in your State of the Union address, in light of widespread revelations of fraud in federally funded programs in states like Minnesota and California, this executive order in front of you will establish a new task force aimed at rooting out that fraud, returning potentially billions or tens of billions or even hundreds of billions of dollars to the American taxpayer. This task force will be chaired by the Vice President. The Vice Chairman will be the head of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, who's with us here as well today. But this is going to launch a whole-of-government approach to rooting out the very serious problem of fraud in federally funded programs around the country.
There have been ongoing concerns about fraud tied to social programs, especially programs that expanded rapidly without any real oversight. There will always be people looking to exploit systems, so as long as there aren't any guardrails in place, there aren't any guardrails preventing fraud, and there's always little to no accountability at all. So do you think this new executive order is about accountability or just politicking as usual? I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. Ilhan Omar was recently asked for her thoughts on Pete Hegseth, and this is what she had to say. Take a listen.
Hegseth at this point. We've been watching his press conferences. He's saying all these crazy things. Honestly, I don't even know.
I mean, what can you say? He's always been pretty pathetic.
Yeah.
It pains me as a Minnesotan that that's the person that we have in the administration, and I just hope he gets replaced because he's an embarrassment on a national and international stage for us.
She calls everyone stupid. She calls everyone an embarrassment, but herself and the Somalian community for robbing taxpayers of billions of dollars. She never once said the Somalian fraudsters are an embarrassment to the Somalian community. She never once said that they are an embarrassment to Minnesotans, unless she is part of the fraudsters, allegedly. Just speculating here. But moving on to an interesting story coming out of Florida. The Senate failed to pass the bill banning first cousin marriages.
This might be the most bizarre thing in Florida that you never knew was legal. Marrying your first cousin.
It sounds wild, but Florida is one of more than a dozen states where it is legal. Gulf Coast Chief Political Reporter Dave Elias explains how a bill to object to this lifelong vow didn't get a warm reception among state leaders.
Well, believe it or not, Florida is one of 18 states that still blesses the union of marriage between first cousins and beyond. I grew up in West Virginia, a state that sometimes is the brunt of joke for cousins marrying, but state of West Virginia banned it back in 1955, and many are asking why. It's still on the books here in Florida. Well, everybody has a favorite cousin, and in Florida, you can marry them.
It's certainly weird. I don't think me finding it weird is a good enough reason to make it illegal.
If Florida lawmakers had passed House Bill 733, it would be illegal, but they didn't pass it.
It's pretty unusual they'd have that still in the state. It should have been banned many years ago.
Albert Einstein married his first cousin, Elsa, and President Franklin Roosevelt married his distant cousin, Eleanor.
Well, it makes for a nice small wedding party.
The practice, though, unusual. Only about 250,000 such marriages nationwide.
If you have the same grandpa, you don't want Grandpa Joe to be, on both sides of the aisle at your wedding.
Cousin marriages, though, are permitted in some countries, including the Middle East and North Africa.
No, definitely not in Poland.
But it is in Florida until lawmakers change it.
I can't understand why you wouldn't take action just to get it off the legislation.
I'm curious to know who in the Senate voted against that, because it really seems like a basic common sense bill to me. Don't marry your cousins. Don't marry your sister. Don't marry your mom. Common sense. The world is so upside down. So what do you think? Do you think that the new executive order that President Trump signed will help diminish the fraud happening in this country? And what do you really think about the Florida bill not passing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to further support the show, please go to my website and order some merch. The designs are clean, simple, and intentional with statements that we discuss every day here on the show. So head over to NellyMiranda.com and get yourself a sweater that says follow the money or where's the oversight, because with all the fraud going on in our country, we have to follow the money and demand oversight of our tax dollars. And if you got any value from today's video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.